to another edition of Between the Posts. Tommy Javor here with Lachie Gould, another big week in footy.
Yeah, it always is in the Adelaide Footy League. Cannot wait to dissect this one.
There is some interesting things happening, and of course we don't exist without our great sponsors, but we're at a new sponsor today, one of our hotels, the Bartley Tavern. How nice is it in here?
It's absolutely delicious. I was just having a little bit of a sip of the coffee. I might do that too. It's brilliant in here. Cannot wait to get back here next 4 weeks.
Oh, mocha chocolate, yeah. It's been around for a while. It's just across from Smosh West Lakes on Bartley Terrace. You can't actually miss it. Beautiful venue, good food, and I highly recommend it. And I think Lachie and I will be tucking in for maybe a chicken with Diane or a beef with gravy or something along those lines, won't we?
Yeah, surely something.
Like, what have we got on today's show? I know it's much of a muchness, but let's let our viewers know.
Yeah, so as always, Division 1 preview, women's wrap. Beck was out. She decided she had better things to do. It's me. I was doing it. So I did the women's wrap, and we've got Phil Herden coming in Division 4, the voice of the Adelaide Footy League just about.
Oh, old golden tonsils. You're the new Eddie Maguire. And look, I reckon you're going to be really good on the women's wrap today. Matter of fact, you've already shot it. I know you were good. So
thank you.
Of course, we've got our coach of the week coming from Division 4. What caught our eye? Marks and goals of the week. And of course, the last word. All that on much more on this week's edition of Between the Posts. BTR Excavations Division 1 report with Tommy Javor and Lachie Gould. Another huge week.
Again, I say it every week. It always is. It is a massive week, especially in the BTR Excavations Division 1.
Credit where it's due, mate. I believe it might be a first. Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius, 5 out of 5.
Yeah, look, did a good work, but so did you there, Tommy.
Yeah, it looked like we were going to go none out of 5 at one point, but the results turned themselves around. Really good. Should be an interesting report because 6 rounds in, a third of the season, a real good snapshot, and we'll look at Div 7 and of course the e-bikes. But we always start with the Stream Team game of the round, which you're on. Port District and Glenunga. It was Port District 8-20, Glenunga 7-10, 16-point win. The player in footage is number 25, Cooper Gaffney.
Yeah, I think you had something to do with the votes there, Tommy.
Had nothing to do with the votes. He's a good footballer and he's proved it right here. Major goal kickers Dwyer and Ferns with 2 for Districts, whilst Ethan Smith kicked a couple for the Rams, mate. You were at the game. I was watching it closely because it looked like Glenunga were going to cause an upset, but give us the match flow and how it played out.
Yeah, so both teams' first quarter, everyone really all day was affected by the wind. There were a couple of gettable shots that went either way for both teams, but in the end, it was Port Districts. They put their foot down at the end of the second quarter, hit the accelerator, and didn't look like losing after that. They were able to run out. Pretty comfortable winners. They pushed and they pushed Glenunga. They got it back down to 9 points in the final quarter after Parsons kicked a goal, but it just wasn't to be in the end. Yeah, so when I was watching, it was Port looked like they missed a lot of early chances, 2-11 to 4-8 when I was just checking the scores on the app, so they do a great job obviously filming footy. And you letting us know, it's really easy to click in with that report you do, which I appreciate. But Glenunga led by 2, only trailed by 3, so Port with 2 late second quarter goals where they probably just took control of the game from there. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that was the killer there.
Yeah, they ultimately lead by 15 points and 16 points at 3-quarter time. A couple of debutants in this game?
Yeah, there were. So Oscar Kilpatrick, he's coming out of Woodville West Torrens. Yeah.
What do they call him out there?
Yeah, so they were rolling with Killer when he had the footy. I was going to run into him and see if I could get a nickname affirmation, but I wasn't quite able to swing that in the end. Yeah, Dominic Denton as well there, Tommy. Has been trying for years to get into the first team, was able to do it yesterday. Played a pretty solid debut as well, and he was speaking to some of his teammates afterwards, and they're really wrapped for him. Yeah,
and look, Port, they've got depth at the moment. They're obviously second in the ones and right up in the, I think they're first or second in the twos as well. Great depth. Their C's travel all right. Even got old guys, ex-A grades like Heath Pocock running down there. They're great quality. Let's look at some of the better players for Glenunga who didn't get in the votes. Jesse Temmie. Was he down back, Temmie?
Yeah, the general down in defence down there.
Yeah, they're playing an undersized back line. Tommy Michaelani, Smith and Deck Fay, former North player. But tons of prizes because it was a Stream Team game. The best team player was Joey Haynes. Tell us about Joey's game.
Yeah, Joey, just again, another general in defence wearing the Port District's colours, was able to really take a few intercept marks, get things started for them when they needed to. And for that we rewarded him with the Moseley Best Team Man.
He's got such a long kick, you'd be tempted to say say boom shakalaka when he kicks it, but we won't. And the player of the day, Harry Dwyer. And the man that won all the prizes, Cooper Gaffney. The left-footed architect, harder than a cat's head. I love the boy.
Well, I was speaking to him after the game, and
Did he say hi?
I did say hi. I said Tommy Jabal's a massive fan.
He knows.
And then he fired back with, I'm a massive fan of Tommy. So there you go, bit of a bromance going on there.
Hope he wins the e-bike.
we don't have favourites at all.
No. And can you actually give us the votes as well, mate?
Yes, I can as well. Yeah. So C. Gaffney 3 votes. Then it was Haynes with 2, and Nash Haynes with 1. And I did see something interesting yesterday as well. Now you may have noticed this if you were watching the stream, but there was a man by the name of Nathan Grimer just poking around down there with Glenunga, and he went at 3/4 time and had a bit of a chat with the current coach Alex Guy. We were just kind of curious as to what was going on there. He walked over after the match, and I asked him outright. I can't quote directly back what he said to me because it contains a cuss word, but it was along the lines of nothing serious.
Yeah, so I'm friends with Nathan. We spoke during the week. He's desperately keen to see Glenunga still thrive, and he does live in the area. And they're so close in games. They're so close in games. There's no excuses, but you know, when you lose players to the calibre of McMahon and Prosser, there's your key forwards, and a bunch of others as well. It creates a challenge. Fletcher Wisman being out, but he and I spent time at Glenunga. He spent 4 years at Glenunga. You care, you genuinely care, and he'd just be trying to support. And of course, let's not forget he kicked 2 goals in a C grade game earlier this year. Kind of a big deal. He may have had a couple of Kieran Hayaketus that day as well.
He was walking around with a non-sponsors product during the game, having a great time.
Yeah, fantastic. Look, again, it was the grand final rematch, if you will. Port District proved they are the team to beat in 2025. Let's move on to our next one, mate, and it was Sacred Heart versus PAC. Sacred Heart 12-12-84, PAC 8-5-53. Again, keeping an eye on the score, and we'll just have a look at the bone crusher Bo McRae with a bit of footage. Keeping an eye on the score, PAC shot out to an early lead, and every team in the top 5 that wasn't Sacred Heart were pretty excited about it, but they just able to grind them down in the end, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. I was pretty excited about it too. I thought my tip was finally coming good, but not quite to be in the end.
Since you said they're going to make the grand final, they've just sliding. But I tell you what, you would have been happier than a frog in a sock, mate, because PAC 6-2 to a goal at quarter time. Everything looks like it's coming up Millhouse, but from that point, the quality of Sacred Heart gets through 2 goals 3 to 11 goal 12. So a 32-point deficit at quarter time ends up being a 31-point victory. So they are looking like a complete team because not only can they win from the front, they can win close games, they can come from behind. They're making every post a winner.
Well, I mean, you said Port District are the team to beat in 2025 at the end of the last game, but I tell you what, I reckon Shock are going to be right there with them in the grand final.
Yeah, there's one, and I'm sick of saying it, and it's disrespectful to keep saying it. They've just got to eradicate the one small chink in their armour, and this is a new team that they haven't won a finals game in 3 years. So if they can fix that, they're a chance to be there in the big dance.
Absolutely.
Better players that didn't get in the votes for Shockies, Hildyard, Coe, and Colotto. Coach has chucked himself in the votes. Well done. He is very good though. For Slade, PAC, Howard, and Bromley, the votes, please.
Yeah, so we ended up with 3 to McRae, 2 to Noble, and 1 to Oscar Lovelock.
Yeah, brother of Archie, Glenelg Premiership player, and Brad Noble polling well. Has he reached the top 5? We'll find out soon enough. Next one, another good game, another close contest. The Intercol battle, St. Peter's 10-7-67, or Ross Trevor 8-8-56. Our man in footage is Ted Newman. Tell me a bit about number 22, Ted Newman.
Yeah, so Ted Newman played at Sturt in the under-18s program, was a massive part of their defence down there as well, managed to guide them to a couple of finals appearances, and he's a really, really competent defender. So just something to keep in mind there across Division 1 when you're watching Spock when you're watching Spock play.
Yeah, and anyone that comes from the Scott Preble Footy Factory out at Sturt are doing great things, and now Spock are doing great things. A credit to that connection there. All going very well. Again, it was a tricky day with the breeze. Spock shot out to a lead, but Ross Trevor actually took a 7-point halftime lead. It was a 5-goal third quarter where Spock stamped the authority. Interesting notes here from the commentators. I think it might have been Jad Gosson. 15 goals kicked to one end, so it goes to show that it was very hard to score at the one end. 15 of 18. Let's have a look at some of those better players, mate, that don't appear in the votes for Spock. Newman, Allen, McKinnon, and Bedford. For Ross Trevor, Wharton, I mentioned him last week. He's a very good footballer, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a massive part of that midfield along with Transfer. I said the same thing last week. I'll probably say it every time you ask me about him.
Yeah, and big Jimmy Butterworth in the ruck as well. The votes, please, Lachie.
Yeah, so 1 to Rundle. Then we did have that man, Matthew D, Nestriansky, and then 3, it was Ted Newman with a maximum.
Yeah, Spock have got making every post a winner. Chatting to some of the players, past players at Broadview, they had past players day, and at Salisbury North, of course, they seem to have their house in order. A real high quality, high credential player on each line. They've kept their list together, buying into Mike O'Leary's message. Sky's the limit for St. Peter's.
Absolutely, the sky's the limit for St. Peter's. Could they do it?
You've tipped everyone else to win the flag. It might be time to jump on their bandwagon.
I just keep going from team to team.
It's going to be a tricky one, and Mark McCormack's there. The ball falls down. Socky kicked off the out of there. A volley. Thinking he's in the Premier League with that.
Next one I was at, obviously, it was Broady 6-11-47, Salisbury North 8-14-62. The man we're going to have a look at, you can't really miss him, number 53, Cal Hay. He has been outstanding this year. Just looking at Taylor and Phil's notes, and pretty accurate this. Not a pretty game, just a total of 14 goals, a tricky breeze, but tough, hard football and contested pressure. This Div 1 footy, there's no easy games.
No, there is no easy games in Division 1 footy, and Callum Hay's a very, very competent defender.
Yeah, I am. And I know you're scared of him.
Yeah, Callum, if you're listening, massive respect.
He's doing all right in the e-bike. He'd look good on an e-bike as well.
Yeah, he would.
Hair, he's got no hair, so no, we'll just leave that alone. I'm not picking on Cow either. But again, some of the other notes, Salisbury North won the ruck and the clearances, which is probably the way I saw it. But there was a little highlight. We didn't have a Jag meet, we were staying of the day. But Todd Pearce, he's an interesting character. He's a strange cat. I love him. He's had a ping from 60, and sometimes the footy gods are on your side.
Looking for Richard, although it is a pickup. Here comes Salisbury North. Todd Pearce with the long kick. If it bounces over and through.
Yes, well done there, Todd. Mr. Electricity, as I call him. Ant Hellbout got two. I want to give a quick shout out to Ant Hellbout. I'm not sure if I meant to say this, we're going to say it. He got T-boned on the way to the game, and I was like, well, he's out. Now, he wasn't obviously badly injured, but it's enough to rattle you, and thank God everyone in the car was okay. But he continued to play, kicked 2 goals, and was in our best players. That, for me, is just a huge... that's character, that's resilience.
Yeah, that is character and that's resilience. I'm not sure there's too many players that would have been willing to play after they'd been in a car accident.
No.
And I'm glad everyone's okay.
Yeah, no, everyone was okay. And yeah, look both ways, please, people. Just a little message from Tommy to the people out there on the roads.
Tommy's driving school.
Yes. Now, Broadview got real close a few times, and they've been in front in the second quarter. They're watching them firsthand. They've got some good crisp transitions and good movement. They're going to win some games of footy this year. They're actually the best bottom team I've ever seen. I'll go that far. It sounds weird, but it's true.
Yeah, they are. They will win some games of football at some point. And again, you say it every week. I'm going to back you in here. If you take them lightly, they will get you.
Yep. Nearly got us. We didn't take them lightly at all. Better players for Broadies. PJ Carlin, O'Leary, loved his game, and Big Anyang down back did great things. For Salisbury North, better players that don't appear in the votes. Jobber, Geordie O'Brien, the captain, Jacob Fisher, Jake Wagner, and Bob Brasso. One player that was quiet yesterday, and you don't want to stitch a player up, but sometimes you need to. Brody Wagner was quiet. Now, I asked him, why were you quiet? And he's had a good season, but his blue Staffy Stella had diarrhea throughout Friday night, so it kept him up. It was a hell of a mess. So we wish Stella and Brody all the best. Hopefully they can work forward together, and it all comes good.
Yeah, hopefully it does. Never good when your furry friends are in a little bit of trouble.
No, looked like she was melting. Anyway, we'll move on to the votes, please.
The 1 vote to Luke Havel, 2 to Tyron Hill, and 3 to that man, Callum Hay.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Again, a tough game of football. I loved it. I enjoy watching good games of footy, and this one could have gone either way. And big shout out to Broadview as well for hosting a great day, paying tribute to their past players and respecting a lost member. So it was a good day all round. All right, last but not least, mate, Golden Grove, 17-21-22, PNU, 5-11-41, 81 points. At the start of the year, we had PNU in our top 3, maybe even playing grand final. We were wrong. We own it. We're going to move on from that now, aren't we?
Yeah, look, move on, yes, but also say to PNU, they are looking pretty dangerously at the drop, aren't they now? You've got to say a third in the season, they haven't won a game of footy yet. They play Broadview this week. If they don't win that, you almost start to say PNU and Division 2 in the same sentence.
You said it, not me, but yes, it'd be hard to disagree with you. Player in footage is Lachlan Pascoe. He kicked 9 in the second half. 9 goals in a half of footy. It's not bad.
I wonder what the rev-up speech was at half-time.
Yeah, must have really given it to him. Look, they had control all day. 37 scoring shots to 16. They led by 16-24, and then obviously to blow it out by 81, it was 5-9 to 1-2 in the third quarter, 6-4 to 2-2 in the last quarter. I've been waiting all year for this Golden Grove, and top 5 are on notice. Look out. They look like they've got all their weapons starting to fire.
Yeah, ruthless really is the only way you can describe that performance.
As we mentioned, 9 goals. McKelvey with 3, Cav with 2, 4 PNU. Tommy Wagner, the only one to kick 2. He did try really hard and looked like PNU's most dangerous forward, but just didn't get enough supply. Other good players for PNU included Matty Nye, as always, and Theodorakopoulos. Look at that. Nailed that role. For Golden Grove, those that don't appear in the votes but were excellent, Cav, Buck, Giles and Connor Dodd. All the votes, as you'd expect, going to Golden Grove.
Yeah, so 1 to Slater, 2 to Pittman. He is polling some votes at the minute, year on year as he does, and 3 to Lachie Pascoe. Hard to go past him when he kicked 9.5 of footy.
Yeah, and just for the commentators, they give me some great notes. So Slater, his engine and his work rate led from the front. As a ruck forward defender, he is a player you'd love to have in your team. Pittman, tough, courageous, 4-quarter effort, led from the front. And well, Pascoe kicked 9. I think you deserve some votes. That is our games for this week, mate. Let's have a very quick look at the ladder, which makes a very interesting reading. Thank you, Darcy. Shock undefeated, and the percentages are actually quite relevant because I think these are going to change, potentially relegation, promotion, top 5, double chances. But Shock 58%, 6-0. Port 5-1, 59%. Spock 5-1, 58%. Then we come down to Salisbury North, 4-2, 57%. Rocks, 4-2, 52%. But the thing that catches my eye, Golden Grove now 3-3, but they jumped about 7% with that win. They come up to 53%, and now they're in striking distance of the 5.
Yeah, they absolutely are. Golden Grove, you said it when we went through their game. They are a team to watch. Very, very dangerous.
Yeah, PAC 2-4. Glenunga 1-5. Healthy enough percent, both on 44, 6% ahead of the chasing pack in relegation, PNU and Broadies, who will meet this week. Lachie. It's time. High 5 e-bike player of the year. We're going to give you the top 5, but we are not releasing how many votes they're on. We want a little bit of mystery about this, but we have got the top 5, Lachie. This is in order. I'm not going to lie to you about there, but they're all within a best on ground vote of winning the bike themselves. Who's number 1, mate?
It is Jake Pittman sitting there from Golden Grove in the number 1 slot.
Yeah, best on ground on the weekend. The tough in and under midfielder from Golden Grove. What a star he is. Who's next, mate?
Will Schmidt, PAC. A couple of people will be surprised just based off P&C's win-loss record, but he's having a very, very good season.
Yeah, just the 2 wins, but he's polling well and great intercept mark and a very good footballer. Next, mate?
Joey Haynes out of Port District.
Yes, of course. Phil always called him Mr. Footy Sauce when he played in the Sandful, and he's been fantastic, and they've won a flag since he got there, so you can't fault his form.
Yeah, absolutely, you cannot.
Next up,
number 4, Callum Hay out of Salisbury North.
He's been, I guess he's been the best key defender in the competition this year, as the votes suggest. He has been outstanding, crossing back from North Haven, obviously former Salisbury North player. He has been nothing short of sensational. Best on ground on the weekend as well.
Absolutely, and then number 5, Bradley Noble out of Shock.
Yeah, he's doing great things, the big fella from Shock. I get him confused sometimes.
Yeah.
Very consistent, and the combination of him and Colotto working with that, they've got an embarrassment of riches in the on-ball brigade now, making them very dangerous. So good luck to all 5 of those players. You could be riding a High 5 e-bike. But mate, on to business, because it is a huge round 7 where seasons can shape here, and you've already called it in the segment earlier, but I'll just list the game and tell me your thoughts. It's Glenunga versus Golden Grove. Long time since Glenunga have won at Webb. I can't believe I'm saying that. The way I see this round, if the Kookaburras win, they'll jump in the 5.
Yeah, I agree, and I think they will as well. That's going to be a massive game of footy, and I tell you what, Glenunga desperately need a win. Yeah,
it'd be interesting to see the ins and outs of Glenunga this week. If Harry Prosser's back from Stephen Prosser's birthday in England, that's huge. Does Fletcher Wiseman get back from his ribs? This is a 50-50 game if ever there was.
Another point on that, Abe Davis looked very sore yesterday as well. So is he going to play? Probably yes, but who knows? Put the big fella in the cage, he'll still kick 5. Oh, I want to tip Glenunga, I really do, but I have to go with Golden Grove after they decimated Payneham on the weekend. Yeah, I'm the same. Okay, a team that have met in some grand finals before, PAC and Port District. Yeah, so PAC in struggle street at the minute. Yeah, no, it wasn't one of my better tips, but I think Port District get this one done as well. They were ruthless on the weekend too. Yeah, it'd be hard for me to imagine tipping against Port District too many times this year, and I certainly won't be on this weekend. This next one, 9th versus 10th, is as big as it can get for these 2 clubs. One of them's going to win, unless they draw, of course. And yeah, I've seen them both firsthand. It's PNU and Broadies at PNU. It's PNU's 30-year celebration on the weekend as well. They've been putting a lot of stuff in behind the scenes.
whoever's doing that game, you'll see a bit of Tommy Javor time down there. Tell you what, I want to tip PNU, but I'm not sure I can.
Yeah, I think I will. I'm going to tip Payneham Norwood Union. I think they're going to be seething after an 81-point loss. I think they'll come out and win the game by 5 goals.
Yeah, you are Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius. You've convinced me. I'll take PNU as well. They have to bounce back, and if they don't, as you said, it could be Division DOS next year. How's this one? Fifth. I love that the top 4 of the top 5 play each other. Rocks and Shock. 5th versus 1st. I reckon they match up really well. Rocks don't win this game. They could be out the 5.
Well, surely someone has to beat Sacred Heart at some point, and surely we won't be waiting for finals. It could be this weekend. I'm going to tip an upset. I'm going to go with Rocks.
That's probably a pretty good tip. I'll stick with Shock because I don't like betting against streaks, and they're on a hell of a streak at the moment. And they come from behind win. Very impressive on the weekend. And last but not least, it's 4th versus 3rd. Another cracker. A quadruple header at the Hawks' Nest. Salisbury North taking on St. Peter's.
Yeah, going to be a good game of footy, this one here. Salisbury North, obviously, they play really, really well, but you never know with St. Peter's what they're going to bring to the table. They've got some really great football in them
Tip,
too.
please, Lachlan.
Oh, okay. I was skating around the edges. I'm going to go St. Peter's.
Yeah, and every time you tip them, Salisbury North win, so that's a good sign. It's impossible for me to tip here. Yeah, it's a 50-50 call. I'll just say that.
No. Hang on. You got a tip out of me. I need a tip out of you.
St. Peter's.
Okay.
Yep, that's my job. I'm here to give analytics, and I won't be real popular with that tip, but at the moment, they've lost one game in the last kick of the game, and St. Peter's making every post a winner. Hope I'm wrong. All right. Now, last but not least, this is a pretty tough one for me, so I'm going to take a bit of a break for a few weeks. I've got a bit of surgery to take care of, which is I'm in a bit of a challenge in my life. I hope to be back in 3 weeks. I'm not sure I will be, but I plan on being. I know you're ready for this, so it's exciting for me to see your development. Just want to say, men's health, get checked, look after yourself, do the right thing. Yeah, leaving it till tomorrow isn't a good idea. So I'm going to get myself right, mate, and over to you for a few weeks. Cheers. Hope to see you again in a few weeks with some more Division 1 action.
Do you belong in a role that drives you? In a community that makes you proud? In a team that brings out your best? You belong in blue. Apply for a career with South Australia Police.
Welcome to the BTR Excavations Division 1 Women's Wrap. It's been a really, really great week of women's football. We are here at the Bartley, which has been absolutely fantastic. A lovely host this morning, gotten us a cup of coffee. We'll get into it. My name is Lachie Gould. Beck is unfortunately not here this weekend. She'll be back next weekend. But it was the Goodwood Saints 7-10-52 who got over the top of Broadview 3-3-21. It was Goodwood's second win in a row after they got past Golden Grove last week. They could have had it done in the first quarter. They kept Broadview scoreless in the first term as Goodwood scored 1-5. It was an inaccurate effort in the first term, but they did get it done in the third. They kicked 3 straight goals to 1, and Broadview never really got close enough to worry the Saints. It was a confidence booster for Goodwood. They needed to get on a good run back at home, and they have finally done that now. And it was the Broadview that were just unable to challenge because the Saints put on so much scoreboard pressure. And they're in some real trouble here, Broadview. They did finish in the grand final position last year, but they're still only with the 1 win this year. The Saints' best, Jess Shire, back at home and back in some form as well. She's had a very, very happy homecoming. The Saints had 5 goal kickers. Meanwhile, for Broadview, their best was Taylor James. Both teams went into this opportunity with a chance to have a look at the top 4, but it was Goodwood who were able to get it done in the end. Payneham getting the win just over the top of Henley in game number 2. Payneham 20-11-71 versus Henley's 10-7-67. It's two close losses in a row for the Sharks. There was plenty of lead changes. It was Payneham up at quarter time. Then Henley were up by 1 at the half. And after a 4-goal quarter, PNU were up by 3 at half time and finished off to win the game by just the 4 points. Both sides were incredibly inaccurate in the final term, 2 goals 5 to 2 goals 4. Both teams really struggling in front of the big sticks there. It could have gone either way. In the end, it did end up going the way of Payneham. And Payneham, well, they're basically undefeated this season already. They always seem to find a way when challenged, and they're a classy operation. Goals, they had 8 different contributors for 20 goals, which was an even spread. The best for PNU was Khalifa and Henley goals. It's 4 for Tegan Dunbar, and she's kicked 3+ in every game this season except round 5, and she's leading the Division 1 goal kicking. If you do want to hear from the wonderful Tegan herself, make sure you do check out the interview she did earlier in the year. The best for Henley was Demi Bates as well. Payneham carrying on their winning ways, but they were really, really challenged by the Sharks. Game number 3 saw Hectorville travel to Morphett Park. It was Morphett Park 8-3-51, defeated by the visitors 10-3-63. Hectorville get their 3rd win of the season by 2 goals, and they are back on the winners list. It was very, very close. It was a 1-point lead at quarter time and then and at half time as well. Hectorville led both quarters there, but in the 3rd quarter they put on 2 goals won and held Morphettville to just the 1 behind. So the 3rd was where it was won there in that game. Off their hard work, they then kicked 3 goals in the final term as Hectorville had a bit of a party. Morphettville did end up winning the last quarter 3 goals won, but couldn't come back from their 3rd term deficit. Hectorville goals, they had plenty. Grace Whittaker had 3, so something to keep in mind there as well. Absolute brilliant effort from her. Hectorville best, Rosie Boone was doing the job down there for them. Morphy's goals, Glenelg FC's great Caitlin Swanson kicked 4 goals, and their best was Bailey as well. Morphees came off a great win from Henley last weekend, but couldn't get past the Hounds today. It takes them to 3-3, hanging on 4th spot by percentage. They're in a good spot, but they've got to bounce back next week. Well, they're very happy down at the Valley. They've got their 5th win of the season, Happy Valley, as they move into 2nd spot. Happy Valley 8-13-61 over the top of Golden Grove 2-1-13. They're able to kick multiple goals in each quarter while holding Golden Grove to a goal in each half. It was just a game Happy Valley had to win, and they did get it done in the end. Golden Grove still searching for that 1st win of the season, and they've had a bit of a rough start. Happy Valley able to share it around. They had 6 goal kickers, and the best for Happy Valley was Tabitha Prosser. Meanwhile, for Golden Grove, the best was Taylor Uncle. They had 2 goal kickers there. Happy Valley have started their season well, only dropping the 1 game so far. If they can keep up and solidify a top 2 finish, they will be very, very happy with where they sit currently. Golden Grove still need that first elusive win, and hopefully it comes soon for them, because if it doesn't, they could find themselves in some real trouble. Well, round 7 in the BTR Excavations Division 1 Women's is going to be absolutely massive. Golden Grove versus Payneham, Henley versus Broadview, Goodwood versus Morphettville Park, and Happy Valley against Hectorville. Apart from Payneham and Golden Grove, all games are massive in terms of ladder positioning. 3rd versus 6th, 4th versus 5th, and 2nd against 6th respectively. You'd expect Payneham to get the job done against Golden Grove, but the others, who knows? 4 teams currently sit 3-3. Middle part of the ladder is very, very tight. Big fight for 3rd and 4th on the ladder currently. It's a huge weekend to come next week in the BTR Excavations Division 1 Women's League.
It's time for our Farmers Leap Coach of the Week. And it comes from Division 4. Big thanks to Phil Herden for the nomination. And it is the undefeated coach from the Walkerville Cats, Ryan Madden. Congratulations to Ryan. He has been coaching for 6 years at the Cats. Of course, had a premiership, but in a COVID year. He's been doing outstanding things. They've missed the finals the last 2 years, but they've certainly turned it around, having a very strong season. Well done, Ryan Madden. You're our Farmers Leap Coach of the Week. Well, Tommy Jibble here, and it's very exciting because we are deep diving into Div 4, and I'm doing it with, well, a legend, a voice of the Adelaide Footy League. Welcome, Phil Herden.
G'day, TJ. Despite the court order, we're back.
Yes. We've done some stuff together, haven't we?
This could go anywhere, folks, so stay tuned.
Yes. Obviously, we hosted the stream team together. and we're very good. We've worked together in the Sandful. We've done a lot of media together over the years and called Division 1 grand finals and
Had a ball.
yeah, and you always make me better, which is I appreciate because I need it, and that's why you're here today because I got no idea. Division 4, I obviously do all the divisions. I've given grand final predictions. My grand final pre-season predictions: Plimpton and Mitcham currently sit 4th and 6th. I need some help. I need some expert Phil. Take me through. What do you got for us?
All right, let's set a bit of context with Division 4. It's a 7-division league. So Division 4 is like the halfway house of the Adelaide Footy League. Not the top 3 divisions, not the bottom 3 divisions. And I went back to when we came out of COVID, and there's been 20 clubs that have come through Division 4. You tend not to stick around for a while. Only one of those 20 has been there all 5 seasons, this year and the last 4. Would you hazard a guess at which one of those 10 it might be?
Well, I've got a little cheat sheet because I happen to be the premiership fullback from that club and I follow them very, very closely, and I'm there every Saturday morning because my girls do gymnastics. It's the Walkerville Cats.
It is. So let's start maybe with Walkerville because they had a big day yesterday.
Sure did.
Even before the first ball was bounced. ABC Grandstand visited. Not as many fans as what we have, of course, but a big start, and ultimately Walkerville think we're on the big stage now, and they played like it. 123-point win, 23-17, 155. Jeps Cross, just the 4-8-32. 4-0 in the first quarter, 8-1 in the second. You're leading by 78 points at the half-time break. You're already home. 99 at three-quarter time. So they won every quarter.
Yep.
Emphatically, performance, undefeated, looking the goods.
Doing really good things on and off the field. Had Heath Shaw playing in the 2s on the weekend as well. They had a big day. They wanted me to promote it, but got the promotional stuff in a little bit late. The Cats are 6-0. I probably didn't see this coming because, as you said, 5 years in the division, I thought they'd probably kind of pigeonhole themselves almost to a mid-range Div 4 team, but they've taken the next step so far this year.
Yeah, 7th and 8th the last 2 seasons. So doing the prediction, you might think, well, maybe they're in danger of visiting Div 5 first. Michael Hahn kicked 6 goals, and Coach Ryan Madden, who is a legend at Walkerville, 323 A-grade games, 3-time premiership player, he's in his 6th season as the A-grade coach. So he knows the club, he knows the setup, has been given time to develop a list. I think it's all coming to fruition this year.
And Key Volunteers Dinners, where you've attended many times, was my guest one year as the Coach of the Year for Walkerville. Would have been the COVID year when they won but didn't get to go up, I believe. He's a very good coach, very astute and a lovely man.
So there's a bit of frustration. We were good enough to go up, but just not the right year.
Yep.
They might get to there. For Jeps Cross, look, 4 individual goal scorers. Dominic Barry, Robert Young was in the best. But no time really to reflect for either. They've both got big games next week.
Absolutely.
Probably the result of consequence was at Colonel Light Gardens at Mortlock Park. This was 2nd versus 3rd, and Morphettville Park got the win. Colonel Light Gardens' first loss, actually pretty good half by the Lions. They led by 6 points at quarter time, 14 points at half time. But in the second half, 9-3 to the visitors. Brody Trembath for Morphy Parks kicked 3 of their 9 goals. Brett Moriarty, the best player. Jacob Forster, the best for Colonel Light Gardens. It was actually the Lions' first loss. They had drawn with Mitcham earlier in the season.
Yeah, I was going to jump in on you on that one. They, as the team, one of the team that's come up, they're really having an impact, and yeah, look out. But Morphy Park, too good on the day, and again another good blend. Big Trembath up forward. He's won premierships in country footy, so he's been a great addition.
Yeah, so that's a really big win for Morphy Parks, moving into 2nd spot in what seems to be, well, it might be considered a 3-team race, those 3 teams we've just mentioned, and maybe a 4th.
Oh, I think there's a 4th.
And that 4th is my beloved Plimpton Bulldogs, my club when I was a kid. They went to Rowett Constructions Oval.
Where the hell is that?
That is at Mitcham. Mitcham hosting Plimpton. It was the Luke Paparella show. Luke kicked 8 goals of Plimpton's 17. He almost outscored Mitcham, who kicked 9 as a team. Plimpton emphatic win, 52 points, entrenches them in 4th position. It's been a bit of a shaky start for last year's minor premiers, who fell apart in the finals, but this was a good steadier as they move up the ladder.
Yeah, the interesting for that one as well is, and it talks to the evenness of the competition, Mitcham have fallen out the 5 with that loss there. They were previously in the 5 and looking pretty good. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking more now at the lower end of the ladder, Kenilworth and CBC, this was a critical game. Both teams just the 1 win, so relegation zone territory. This was at St Mary's Park. And again, another win to the visitors. All bar Walkerville, the visitors got up. CBC Old Collegians 13-16-94, Kenilworth. 10 straight. 10
That's-
without a miss.
Second week in a row we've seen a team kick 10 straight. I don't remember seeing it ever before, and I thought the scores might have been entered wrong, but it looked like they were correct to me. So.
Yeah, and I've seen this a little bit in Sandford W. And what usually happens is you think it's a great thing, but that team usually loses because they haven't had enough scoring shots to miss. From that, CBC jumped from 8th to 7th. CBC's percentage, as a side note, they're in 7th, 52.4. That's because they're 4 losses, Hectorville by 19, Colonel Light Gardens 4, Jeps Cross 4 and Walkerville 6. So their form for a team that's now 7th, pretty good, could still be a dark horse for finals.
Yeah, CBC coach Carl Harris coming across from Sacred Heart last year. I think he went to school. He was a Dolphin back in the day. He'd be buoyed by that because they're competitive in all games, and you know what it's like in Division 4. You can get a run on, and anything can happen. So sitting in 7th, not a team I'd write off yet.
No, 2 and 4. They are a game out of 5th, but that percentage, should they equal the wins, certainly gives them a shot. That leaves us 1 game left. Smosh West Lakes hosting Hectorville, and for the long-suffering Lions fans, they would have had some hope at quarter time. They led 2-3 to 2-1. Lions in front. Take a photo of the scoreboard.
Turn off the footage, Lions fans. It's from there.
Rest of the game, having kicked 2 goals 3 in the first quarter, Smosh kicked 2 goals 3 the next 3 quarters. Hectorville kicked 13-17, including 6 goals to 0 in the second quarter. That kind of separated the sides. Connor Kent and Ewan Fletcher with 3 goals each. So the big question from this game, look, Hectorville are now in the 5. They jumped Mitcham with those results. But the big question for mine is Smosh. And I'll ask you a question, TJ. Have you ever heard of the commentator's curse?
I've given the commentator's curse every time I've
So
commentated.
you're a believer?
Yes.
Okay. Have you heard of the reverse commentator's curse?
Yeah, I try and do it every time I commentate Salisbury
So
North.
let me try and do this for Smosh. The question is, can Smosh West Lakes win a game this season? And I'm going to say, face to face with proof, they won't win a game this season. But I hope you do.
Wow, it's and look, it's looking like relegation's a very near reality, but that's 3 years in a row for relegation, 2 years without a win if you're correct, and tough times for the Lions, a very proud club. It's a club that's stitched me up a few times over the years with some really good results. They've been strong, so hopefully they can find their way.
So looking at the ladder, and it's spread out pretty well now. Walkerville on top 6-0. Morphy Parks with their win moved to 2nd at Colonel Light's expense. Plimpton sitting at 4 and 2nd in 4th spot, just half a win away from double chance. Hectorville, half a win in the 5, Mitcham half a game out. That draw is going to have an impact between Colonel Light and Mitcham the whole season. Then it's CBC and Jeps Cross on 2 wins, Kenilworth on 1, and we have already talked about Smosh West Lakes.
Yeah, I know you're going to get to the games this week, and that ladder could shift significantly with
Absolutely.
this week's games. Before we do that, mate, I just want to pay a quick tribute to some of our leading goal kickers. Luke Paparella, who you mentioned from Plimpton on 29. Agent 86, Maxwell Smythe on 24 from Mitcham, does great things. Harry Phelan from Plimpton on 18, and Mitch Hahn from the Cats on 17. All doing great things. And 3 players, Phil, have appeared in at least the internet best players in every single game they've played, and they deserve a shout out. Leroy Marsh from Kenilworth, Nick Hankin from Morphy Park, and Tate Lovering from Smosh West Lakes is giving his all despite some of the challenges they face.
Yeah. Now, we talk about games of the week. I reckon we've got round of the year in the Police Creative Division 4. I mean, you think about the things you're fighting for, it's all here. Let's start with, I want to play finals. Hectorville, 5th. Mitcham, 6th. Half a game between them. Winner in the 5 next Saturday night. Okay, I don't want to be relegated. CBC.
Oh, hang on, sorry, sir. I don't mean to jump in on you, but you might be the best expert I've ever met. You don't get away without giving a tip, my friend.
Oh, I've got to give tips.
Yeah,
okay.
we're tipping because I've
Oh,
got
okay.
upsets brewing here.
This wasn't part of the briefing.
No, it's not, is it?
Hectorville and Mitcham. Okay, I'm going to go with the Hounds of Hectorville at home.
And I'm taking Mitcham, and I'm taking them with some confidence. I think they're just a little bit lower on the ladder than what they will be towards the end of the year.
Yep.
Sorry, Phil, keep going.
CBCL Collegian, Smosh West Lakes. Is this the game that Smosh can win? It's pretty close.
No.
But I've just said they're not going to win another game all year, so I guess I better tip CBCOC.
Yes, I agree.
So we talked about what do you want to do. You want to finish top 3 to have a good chance at the flag and get promoted. Well, we've got 4th place Plimpton hosting 3rd place Colonel Light Gardens. This tip is more heart than head. Bulldogs are my boys. I should have brought the beanie today. Plimpton to get up.
You're my boy, Bulldog. I agree. Led by Pegararo of the Johnny variety. Just they're twins, so they're hard to tell apart. They've still got a really good list, and as I said, they're my grand final prediction. So I expect them to start making their charge now.
Alrighty. Then there's Jeps Cross and Kenilworth, 8th versus 9th. Again, who wants to avoid relegation? So that leaves Jeps Cross and Kenilworth. Two losers. It's 8th versus 9th. Who wants to avoid relegation? Gee, Jeps Cross were really hammered last week. That leans me to think Kenilworth, who've been a little bit more competitive. But that's probably the big question mark of the whole lot.
Yeah, unfortunately for Jeps, when they get behind in a game, they fall away. But when they're in games, they've won a couple of close ones. I think this will be another close one. Coach Jed Pfeiffer, Don Barry. We've got enough talent. Jeps Cross for an upset for mine.
So that's a pretty good round. Last game left. Top of the table clash. What'd you call it? The pasty?
Yeah, the pasty. It's shaped like a pasty,
okay,
Morphy
like
Park.
the pasty. Officially, it's the Broadway Building Co. Oval. Important we look after everybody's sponsors. As Morphy Parks, with a 5-1 record, hosts the undefeated Cats of Walkerville. That will be one of the games across the Adelaide Footy League next Saturday. Now, you're going to ask me for a tip, and I've given it no thought whatsoever. Will the pasty have an effect? Will the Cats not being on ABC radio have an effect on them? Will there be a downer after that wonderful experience? What the heck? Go for an upset. Morphy Parks. Go Twisties.
Yeah, Twisties, of course, it's the outfit they wear, the red and the yellow there, they do, yes, and we mean that respectfully, but
we do.
Been called it for years.
As a Plimpton boy, we always called Morphy Parks the Twisties.
Yes, they're right around the corner, aren't they?
They are.
The race course. Yeah, it's an interesting one. The Cats aren't going to be an 18-0 team. This one's a bit of a family affair for me because my nephew won a premiership for Morphy. Obviously, I've mentioned already, I'm a beloved Cat from way back, but I actually think Morphy Park at home, the ground is a huge advantage. It is literally shaped like a pasty, so they play it very well and they know when to shift the lanes, and that is very hard to unravel when you play against them. I'll take Morphy Park.
Alrighty, that's a wrap on the Police Credit Union Division 4. TJ, thanks for having me back, and you've done wonders with the place.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. It's a bit different from when we first started this journey together all those years ago. Of course, here at the Bartley is a lovely venue. Phil, as always, being with you on air or off air or any time is a pleasure for me. I learn so much, and you make everyone you're around better, and you know stuff.
And you make me laugh. And you know more than I do, believe me.
I wouldn't go that far, but it's been a pleasure. Hopefully you Div 4 fans have enjoyed it. Phil will be back about just halfway through the season, and we'll have another little look at Division 4 and all things Adelaide Footy League. Welcome to another edition of What Caught Our Eye.
Well, like the weekly wraps, free plug there, let's start in Division 7. And the story of Division 7 this year has to be the Elizabeth Eagles, and I guess it really tells what is a great thing about the Adelaide Footy League. If the Elizabeth Eagles were in a country league, they'd struggle forever. But instead, they get the chance to be relegated, find their level, rebound. They've done that. This could be the story of the entire Adelaide Footy League in 2025 if the Eagles can rebound for a premiership.
Yeah, absolutely. It could be. The other news as well, Central United and Bramah Lodge are the other big winners. Central United beat Flinders University by 185 points. England, Hugo Davis, Siddle all had 5 goals.
Nicely done there, gentlemen. As predicted on the Div 7 wrap with Jad Gosson last week, all 4 away teams won. You don't see that too often in the division. And round 7, well, it's the matchup we've all been waiting for, really. It's second versus first. Central United take on Elizabeth. Alrighty, Phil, let's have a look at Div 6.
Well, Div 6, there's a heck of a logjam. 7 teams between 2nd and 8th. Although I suspect relegation, this might want to be one of the ones that's going to be called pretty early. Because of that logjam, big ladder movements. In just this week alone, St Paul's went from 7th to 4th, and OSB Lonsdale went from 8th to 5th.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned ladder on safety. West Croydon 6 points from safety, and they are winless. Fitzroy on the 10 points, while Para Hills, Ross Trevor, and St Paul's are all on 8 points. The top 5 also beat the bottom 5. Something to note there.
Yeah, very similar sort of stuff here. Second place Para Hills 67-point win. 8th place Houghton with a 49-point loss, and there's one game between them. So absolutely crucial. But again, looking forward is really important. We've got another match of the year in round 7. It's second place Para Hills taking on top place Fitzroy. We might find out a little bit more about the very confusing Division 6. But something that's not as confusing is Division 5, please, Phil Hurton.
Yeah, Division 5 is the only division that has 2 unbeaten teams.
Oh, you keep stealing my notes, Phil.
Marion and Green Acres. Let me come up with another one. You can talk about that. Great to see a couple of perennial strugglers in recent years. Gazer 2 wins. I know a lot of that is self-inflicted, but great to see they've got 2 wins. And Portland at 3-3. Could the Thunder play finals?
Maybe potentially. I also had their Marion and Green Acres were big winners, sitting in the top 2. They defeated Woodville South and Trinity, who are the bottom 2 teams and sitting in the relegation zone.
Yes, one game does separate 4th and 8th, but how? How can you not look at what catches your eye and talk about Gazer, they're going to amaze you. Matt Downey and the boys. Eastern Park, who were my premiership grand final prediction, a bit like your PAC prediction, well, they had it all their own way. In the last quarter, the Eagles went bang. 6-5 to 1-1 for a 9-point win. Well done to the boys from Clemsick Reserve. Joel Thomas best on ground, and son of the legend Paul Merritt, Nathan Merritt, with 3 goals. Would have been a big night partying on the Kieran Hayaketsu for the Eagles. Div 4, please.
Yeah, well, you can see more about that other part of the show. We're going to have a real deep dive into the police credit in Division 4. And in that, we'll talk about what is the round of the season. You want to talk about finals implications, double chance implications, 2 relegation implications, and a battle for top spot. It's all happening in the Police Credit Union next week.
Yeah, Div 4, I had no loser got within 5 goals of the winners, and Colonelite Gardens lost to fall out of the top 2 versus Morpheville Park. Yes,
the Cardiac Cats are no longer the Cardiac Cats, with 4 games winning by less than 8 points or less. They've beaten Jeps by 123. Mitch Hahn with 6 and Frothy's Kirshner with 3. Kudra best on ground on a huge day for the club. Again, Phil and I'll cover it. But round 7 at the Pasty, Kellett Reserve. It's another 1v2 battle. It's Walkerville and Morphy Park. Plenty of 1v2 battles that's really catching my eye coming up in round 7. Div 3, Phil?
Div 3, well, 5 of the 6 teams from last year are sitting out of the finals. So the intruders, so to speak, the 2 that have come from Div 2, the 2 that have come up from Div 4, they're the ones occupying the final 5. Foss first, Edwardstown 4th, and the 2 that have come up, Westminster and Kilburn 2nd and 5th, respectively.
Yeah, I had for Division 3, Westminster and Pembroke having massive wins, but Foss Camden only just beat Seaton. I thought that was an interesting point too. Yeah, Seaton at Pedlar Reserve, I don't care where or when, are hard to beat. They're always hard to beat. They're a tough unit. Interesting again, I'm looking forward rather than looking back. In round 7, these teams can leapfrog with a win, and that's how close this is. So first place Foss taking on 4th place Towns. Towns can actually leapfrog them. 5th place Kilburn taking on Unley Mercedes. They can get ahead of them. And then 6th and 7th North Haven play the bottom 2. So expect them to be coming up as well. I've talked about it all year. Still think there's 7 teams in Div 3 with premiership claims. Interesting stuff happening in Division 3. What's happening in Division 2, please, Golden Tonsils?
Well, Breakthrough Mental Health Foundation Division 2. And we saw something a bit rare. Goodwood, great win. They came 4 goals to 0 in the final quarter. Came from 19 points down to beat Henley at Henley. Their reward? Dropping from 2nd to 3rd because another team got a huge win and got the percentage boost. But a great win by the Saints really sets them up for the season.
I've got some more disappointing news for Lockleys. It feels like we talk about Lockleys every week.
You do.
Lockleys are in hell. 103-point loss to Tea Tree Gully. Athelstone's also clipped Modbury by 94 points, while Flinders Park got past Adelaide Uni by 80 points.
Yeah, obviously Phil and I came from the same media school because about 6 of our points have been the same. I had Goodwood and Henley, but for me it's Henley who I had in the grand final. There was a clear top 3 for me, but they're 3-3 and Goodwood probably underestimated. They've bounced back. Jade Clearland the star on the weekend. Yeah, when the Saints are up and about, they don't just get there, they generally win flags. That's the Goodwood way, so look out for them. Division 1, obviously, I'll cover a lot later, but Phil, what do you got in Div 1, mate?
Well, it's the evenness. 3 games decided by less than 3 goals. And I guess the question is, we're getting a guide of where most of the teams sit, but what about Golden Grove? Can they catch the contenders like the back of a peloton? And they are the only division which have 2 winless teams for now.
There you go. Yeah, I just had Div 1 one note, Payneham Norwood Union in a world of pain. But you can catch more of that in mine and Tommy's Division 1 report.
Yeah, absolutely. I hadn't noticed that, Phil. That's the only division where there's 2 winless teams. I got a little bit off track. Obviously, we do the Div 1 report each week, and we really have a strong look. So I've gone off ground. I was at Broadies yesterday, outstanding. So Darcy's just going to throw it up. In the photos, Rocket Rod George, who's my fellow footy manager, myself, my children, but Shelley Kennedy, what a star. Timekeeper for the last 15 years. She also prepared my lunch. Thank you so much. Pies were too hot, sausage rolls were too cold, but you're awesome, Shelley. And of course, a couple of Kieran Hyatt used to go with it. Shelley has been a volunteer at Broadview since 1968. Now that's when Tony Neal was playing. That's how long ago that was. Since 1968. Shelley, you are what community footy is about. It was so nice to meet you yesterday, and to all of Broadview. I just love going out to these clubs. They're amazing, and caught my eye, caught my heart. Outstanding stuff. This has been what caught our eye for another week. Lachie will be back with his co-host next week. Welcome back to Between the Posts. It's time for Mark of the Week, sponsored by Kimberley Accommodation. Don't forget to send your stuff into Darcy at filmingfooty.com.au. Let's have a look at the Marks of the Week. It's one of our most popular segments in the Adelaide Footy League. It's the goal of the week leading into the goal of the year. It's easy enough to enter, just like that. Nominate your teammates or players. Let's have a look at this week's goals of the week.
Bedford just handballs it off. A big kick now. About 50, over the top of everyone. Nobody
is.
touches it.
Oh!
Edford just handballs it off. A big kick now. About 50, over the top of everyone. Nobody
is.
touches it.
Oh!
What a goal.
What a great goal there by Ted Newman.
And it's time for the final word, Lachie, brought to us by Sapol. They keep us safe, they protect, they serve, they're good.
Yeah, they absolutely are.
Couldn't live without them. All right, let's have a look. Let's get straight into, firstly, our sponsors, wonderful. The Bartley Tavern, you've been amazing. Coffee's been good, isn't
Yeah,
it?
the coffee's good. My coffee's gone. It's absolutely delicious. Make sure you get down here if you are in the West Lakes area.
Yeah, Katie's just getting a coffee now. So, mate, let's go straight into our milestones, marriages, and mini-me's. We just got a couple of milestones this week, and they're big ones. You can lead us off, mate.
Yeah, so David Ford from Tea Tree Gully, he's played 300 games for them, so a massive congratulations.
Yeah, well done. They do it well down at Tea Tree Gully. They would have celebrated him. And a big day for Walkerville yesterday. Heath Shaw being there playing twos. But the biggest story was 350 games to Mark Dearman from the Cats. He joins some elite company there. I'm talking your BJ Felices and these types, Gary Koch, some superstars. Well done to Mark Dearman. That is an outstanding accomplishment. Okay, of course, all the Div 1 games streamed live this week and all the other stuff. It's been a good show, I reckon, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a great show.
Yes. Now, make sure you check out the Div 1 report. If you missed it, you probably missed my messaging, but I'm taking a bit of a break here, hopefully for only 3 weeks. And so I'm going to bring in some very special guests to help close us out. And we come, girls. Beauty, fantastic. Izzy and Indy, my two favourite people. We're about to go on a holiday today as well. Okay, Lachie, can you get ready? You're going to take us and you're going to throw to the girls and they'll take us out.
Will do. Well, that's it from us here, but make sure you tune in next week for more.
In the post.